So, good morning, guys. Oh no, I've not gone mad. It's early morning, and I've got a different plan today. The plan today is to get them going on the surface. Not something that I've done yet, because of these things. The ducks have been a pain. Every time I put any baits out, the ducks are on it, so I can't actually feed on the surface and get them going properly. I've got to cast out a bait to cruising fish and intercept them. So this morning I'm going to try something different. I thought I'd try and feed the ducks off. There's not been that many of them. Kiss of death, I know, I say that, and there's going to be about 40 ducks in this room now. But I've been here for about 10 minutes feeding them, and they're starting to slow down. At first they were ravenous, absolutely ravenous, fighting each other for it, but now I wouldn't say they're disinterested, but they're definitely not as, there's still some floating around, you know. There's a couple of ducks there that are like, oh, I'm going to keep eating until I explode. Feeling they've had enough. Now, big mistake I made. I bought a kilo of the big mixers that I usually use. I'll turn the camera around so you can actually see me now. There he is. So yeah, good morning. As I explained, I'm trying to feed the ducks off. If I can feed the ducks off and get them full up, then hopefully they'll bugger off and I'll actually start fishing for the carp properly and get them going on the surface. So I've got them feeding in the margins, the ducks. The problem I had, I bought a kilo of the mixers that I usually use, and I bought 2.5 kilos of cheap mixers that I could just use to feed them off with. And when I open the bag, they're quite small little mixers, but you know, they're mixers at the end of the day. Smell like dog biscuits. Until I put them in the water and they sunk. What good of sinking dog biscuits? One, the ducks aren't going to be able to get to them on the surface, nor a carp. And two, they're all going to sink to the bottom, and I'm going to have the swim fizzing like a jacuzzi with carp feeding on the bottom when I'm trying to catch them on the top. So yeah, absolute chocolate tea. Yeah, so where was I? So yeah, sinking dog biscuits, not a good idea, don't buy those. No, rubbish. But this little group of 6 ducks have taken some feeding. But now, hopefully, I can ping a few of these dog biscuits out into the swim. They're out, they're going out there again. They're absolutely daft. They're full up, they don't want them. But because I'm putting some out there, they're going over to investigate, to see what's there. And they'll eat a few. Look at them, look, racing each other to get to it. Unbelievable. They're still eating them. But the idea is just to, if I run out of dog biscuits, I don't get a chance to fish for the carp. I don't get a chance to fish for the carp. I've got that in my head. I'm not that bothered. It's an experiment. I just want to try it out. I wanted to get here early morning. Probably the worst time to try and feed ducks off, if I'm honest, because they're still eating. I wonder how big their crops are and how quickly they digest them. It's all interesting stuff. I was watching a video recently online. It's one of the sticky baits carp videos, and it was saying about getting seagulls fed, giving them so much food that they just end up leaving you alone, because the amount of times they can spoil a session. It's got to be a way of combating it, you know. So I'm putting the dog biscuits out into the swim now, and they're a bit disinterested. They're taking the odd one, but they're still hanging around. You think that they'd be really full up, and they wouldn't want them. They're landing now, and they're looking around at each other, saying, "Do you want that one? What about you?" "No, full up now, mate." "Oh, I'll eat it just because it's there." Do you know what I mean? It's like when you've had a big meal in a restaurant, and you're really, really full up, and they come around with a dessert menu, and you're like, I shouldn't, because I'm going to feel really sick if I do. But you look at the pictures of the desserts and you're like, yeah, alright, I'll have that one. And it comes, and you eat it, and you feel so ill afterwards. I hope these feel ill. But they're swimming off now. They're swimming off. They're actually, I think it's worked. But there are no carp in the swim. But I've got a chance now to set everyone up. There's some dog biscuits out there. The ducks have buggered off. I can't see any more. I've got a cup of coffee because it's early. So I'm going to drink my coffee, set my rod up, and wait for some carp to enter the swim. That's the plan. Sinking dog biscuits. Who invented those? So at the moment, it's taking about 10 or 15 minutes to feed the ducks off. And at the moment, there are 2 carp out there feeding on the dog biscuits. They're both really small carp. I'm in no rush to make a cast. The rod's set up. I've got my longer rod this time, £6.9. I've got my baby bell wax for casting weight and for visual soap bob as well. And about 3 foot in down to a size 8 foot. Yeah, I think there's 2, possibly 3 separate fish out in the swim feeding at them. As you can probably see, I've got 2 new ducks in the swim now. Kind of puts a dampener on things. So I think it's quite safe to say that this morning hasn't quite gone to plan. Started off right, getting them 6 ducks in the swim and fed them up, so that when the dog biscuits were landing, they weren't interested in them anymore, and I had a few carp out there feeding. But then 2 new ducks turned up, and there was the problem. Because that other 2.5 kilos of mixers that I brought along are sinking ones, I think that's my massive issue here. Because every time a new duck turns up, I could have put the cheap dog biscuits out to get them fed up and then get them to bugger off, and then I can get back down to the fishing. But I'm getting through that kilo of mixers, the good mixers, the floating ones, too quickly. Yeah, this is really difficult now. Now the wind has sprung up, and there's not so many carp present. I don't know, they might be down the other end because the wind's blowing down that end. Or maybe just because there's a ripple on the surface now, I just can't see them. But I can't put dog biscuits out into the swim and get them feeding because these new ducks are just on it straight away. And if I keep trying to feed these new ducks off, then I'm going to run out of bait really quickly. So what I've done is I've got some dog biscuits floating around in the margins quite close in. That way at least I can shoo the ducks off. Although they're really brave, some of these. We just have to see how it goes, but I think it's just going to be like a normal session, just try and find a fish and put a bait in its path. That's all we can do. So down at the boathouse, what with the ducks and now the wind has sprung up as well, it's making things really, really difficult down there. And the wind is now hacking its way down towards the dam, so the dam's definitely worth a look. So I've packed away, and I've just got myself positioned by the dam now. Put a few dog biscuits out, and I can see one gnarly old mirror dinosaur of a fish cruising around with a little bit of his dorsal sticking out. It's quite comical. But he's swimming around and he looks pretty friendly. And he snapped at a couple of bits on the surface, so maybe, just maybe, he could be the blank saver. Gonna get back to it. That right there is a prehistoric blank saver. It was really tricky down by the boathouse, so I thought I'd come and have a look. The wind's hacking down the dam end, I thought I'd come and have a look down there. Got a couple going down by the dam and managed to snag this old dinosaur. I'm going to get him back, he wants to go, and there's a couple more fish over there, so there could be a chance of another one. Happy days. And there we have a lovely golden common to end the morning on. I say end the morning, I'm going to head my way back to the boathouse and then back to the bridge and then ultimately back to the car, because that's about all I've got time for. But if I see an opportunity on the way, I'll have a go and have a stop. But Not a bad morning. I've learnt loads. I've learnt not to buy those particular dog biscuits that sink. And when the wind pushes down towards the dam, definitely get up here because there's a few fish milling around. So yeah, tight lines. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one, guys. And in typical fashion, got some fish feeding off the bridge, but I can't fish from there. So all I can do is just watch.